For the first time in a little under 5 years, we have a brand new Spider-Man film in theaters. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Here's my review. Before I dive in, if you would subscribe, the like button, hit the bell, comment down below. What is your opinions on Spider-Man Brand New Day? No spoilers. There will be a spoiler review coming this weekend, either tomorrow or after I see the movie for a second time tomorrow night. But, yeah. No spoilers in the comments. If I see a spoiler comment, it's getting instantly deleted. You have been warned. But leave your comments. What did you think of the movie? And if you haven't seen it, are you excited to check it out? Want to know all that and more. Now, when this film was first announced, obviously, I am a big Spider-Man fan. I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt. He might be my favorite superhero. He might be my second favorite superhero. Sometimes he switches back and forth with Batman. But I love Spider-Man, and the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies are my personal favorite Spider-Man movies. When I have a ranking of the Spider-Man movies coming this weekend, I'm going to get flamed for my ranking. But the Tom Holland movies are at the top because I love these movies. And then they hired Destin Daniel Cretton for it, which the action that he did in Shang-Chi was great, so maybe he could have incorporated that into Spider-Man, which would be really exciting. But then he did Wonder Man. And that's where I fully got sold on Destin Daniel Cretton doing a Spider-Man movie, where if you don't know, Wonder Man is my favorite MCU TV show. Go check out my review. I will put my review of Wonder Man up here. So I was very excited for it. Thought the trailers were great and everything. When the reviews came out, there were a couple things that made me a little bit nervous, but for the most part, I was very excited to watch new Spider-Man. And I gotta say this. Off of one viewing, and I'm seeing it again tomorrow night, off of one viewing, I think it's very good. I even would say it's great, but I don't love it. I don't love this movie, right? Now, the thing that this movie does the absolute best, and the thing that you'll hear everybody talking about, is Destin Daniel Cretton did it. He directed this movie. I told you that I was excited for him to direct it, and he completely nailed it. Whether it's the visuals, the action, the emotions, everything that Destin Daniel Cretton brought to this movie, his style is perfect, and I'm just ready to hand him the keys to Spider-Man for the foreseeable future. I think he was great. He was awesome. So, visuals, let's talk about the visuals first. The web-slinging sequences have never looked better. They look awesome. From the very first sequence in the movie, the very first montage, it's just such a gorgeous, vibrant, and electric movie, and the swinging sequences, you feel like you're in the suit with them. It's something that we've never seen in a Spider-Man movie before, and I mean that with 100% positivity. The visuals are great. In every fight sequence, every explosion, all the CGI, it all looks great. There's not a single shot in the movie that does not look great. Now, the action is another thing. That's another big positive, where the action is awesome. Again, Spider-Man action. We'll talk about this here in a little bit, but Destin Daniel Cretton understands Spider-Man, and he understands his action. Spider-Man's got web bombs, web grenades, web tornadoes, and that's all that you've seen in the marketing. He has so much more in the movie, but all the hand-to-hand fight choreography, all the Spider-Man things he does, it all looks awesome, and there's not a single boring action sequence in the movie. They're all great. Some stand out more than others, but they're all great. So, the visuals, the action's great, but does Destin Daniel Cretton understand the emotions? Yes, he does. This is a movie that understands Spider-Man. One thing that I was extremely nervous that this movie would not get right is the usage of the ending from No Way Home, where, if you don't know, Peter had Doctor Strange put the spell on that made everybody forget who he was. And with the marketing being so heavily focused on his relationship with Ned and MJ, I was a little bit worried, right? I was a little bit concerned that, you know, they would kind of undo the ending. Let me say, the way they handle the emotions for that ending is perfect. Absolutely perfect. I loved the way they handled that. But not only that, but the emotions are great. This is a movie with a story that has themes on being alone, on depression. All the themes are great. The same kind of themes that Marvel's Thunderbolts from last year, which I loved, the same kind of theme that movie had, but put for Spider-Man. And that's what Spider-Man should be. A sad teenager that has to do the right thing and make sacrifices. And that's what I love about these movies, is that despite everybody complaining, oh, but Tony Stark gives him everything, or, oh, but in No Way Home it's a Doctor Strange movie, or a cameo fest. These movies understand Spider-Man. In Homecoming, he had to sacrifice a date that he's been trying to get through the whole movie to do the right thing. In Far From Home, there's not a lot of that in there, but in No Way Home, he sacrifices everything to do the right thing. And then in this movie, the stuff that happens in this movie is exactly what Spider-Man should be, and he goes through a very good character arc in this film as well. So I thought that this movie understands Spider-Man perfectly, and I'm trying to dance around without saying any spoilers, because there's a lot of sequences I want to mention in my spoiler review, but there are sequences that made me tear up. And then, like I said, with the way they handled the ending in the last film, I think that the way that it's handled in this movie is really great, with a few genuinely phenomenal sequences and one or two scenes that I definitely did tear up at. So the emotions are great. Now the cast, the characters are all great. This might be Tom Holland's, scratch the mic, this is Tom Holland's best performance as Spider-Man. He gives this raw, emotional performance, that something that Tom Holland from Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home could never do. Tom Holland is definitely growing as an actor, in my opinion. Never saying he was bad, because he was never bad, but this month you have The Odyssey and you have Spider-Man, and he is great in both of the movies. But you got Zendaya, Jacob Batalon. Obviously they're really good. They give some pretty good emotional performances and still have that chemistry with Tom Holland. Sadie Sink, that's all I'm going to say. That's it. Sadie Sink, thumbs up. Okay, we're moving on from her. You have you have John Bernthal in this movie as the Punisher, and I think that this movie uses the Punisher perfectly. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But alongside that, just the rest of the cast is phenomenal. They did have Tremel Tillman in this movie, and I feel like he was a little bit wasted. I feel like the way the movie shapes out, he could have been a bigger part, especially for that actor that I really enjoy. But he is just a corporate guy. Like, he just is the corporate bad guy. And we'll touch on that here in a little bit, and even more in the spoiler review. But he's not anything special, unfortunately. But the cast is all really good in here, and the characters, like I said, are great. Like I mentioned, they handled Spider-Man, MJ, Ned perfectly in this movie. But what about the Punisher? How was he handled? Was he lowered down to be on a PG-13 level? I would say no. I love the way they handled the Punisher in this movie, where, yeah, you don't get the brutal gnarliness, blood going everywhere stuff because it's a PG-13 movie, but you still get a lot of swearing from him. Not a lot of F-bombs, not any F-bombs actually, but a lot of swearing, and he still captures that character and his actions in the movie. I think this movie nailed the Punisher as well, along with Spider-Man. And there's stuff that happens in this movie with the Punisher that I think is some great all-time Punisher stuff. And honestly, when I complained about the special he had, One Last Kill or whatever it was called, I was like, they didn't move the story of the Punisher any further. This movie does more for the Punisher than that 50-minute special did. So I really, really loved the way that he was incorporated. So yeah, really good movie. Destin Daniel Cretton brings everything he should. The cast, everything is great. This is genuinely what I would call a Spider-Man movie. Like, yes, I love the home trilogy. Like, they're my favorite trilogy in the MCU. It's my favorite. Version of Spider-Man. But those are not exactly Spider-Man stories. I should say they're more of MCU Spider-Man story, which should be separate from, say, the Raimi or the Garfield movies. But this one is a Spider-Man story inside the MCU. Yes, is there Hulk, which, by the way, is used perfectly as well. Yes, is there Hulk. Yes, is there Punisher. Yes, is there all these characters. But, it is done so perfectly, put Spider-Man first, and that's what I loved most about this movie. I will say, for the bad stuff, you see a lot of things in the trailer, and I just gotta say the marketing for this movie, like, close to the movie goes out, gets bad. Because it doesn't necessarily spoil any surprises, but you pretty much have seen most of the Hulk fight. Not all of it, but most of the Hulk fight because they released most of the marketing, which is a little bit frustrating, but it also rushes over some plot points. There's a lot of things going on with, like, the transformation stuff, the main plot, to the Punisher, all that's going on, and for the most part, I think it's mostly handled really well, but at the end of the movie, I left kind of like, wish they kind of fleshed this out a little bit. Wish they kind of fleshed this part out a little bit. It also, like, has some things in the movie that is going to be huge for the rest of the universe, I will say. And the discourse online right now that I've been seeing is, oh, was this post-credit scene worth staying around for? Was it not? I would say yes. Just going to leave it at that. Stay for the post-credit scene. It might have some big implications in the future as well. Again, there's a lot of issues I had that I can't really touch on until the spoiler review. Like some certain decisions, some certain characters that I didn't really think were utilized that well, and I'm still more iffy on that. I'm going to watch it again and be like, do I still like this character? Did I not? Did I like this certain person? I'm not so sure yet, but I can't touch on that because of spoilery reasons. And then there are times where the movie did drag just a little bit for me. It always managed to bring me back, but there was a good 10-15 minute chunk in there where I'm like, I'm not really enjoying it. The movie definitely gets better as it goes along, I will say. I do also think this is a very good score, and the Spider-Man soundtrack might be one of the best Spider-Man soundtracks in the MCU, or in Spider-Man universe in general. So, overall, Spider-Man Brand New Day, I did really enjoy the visuals, the action, the cast, the characters, the direction. All of that was utilized very well, and I'm very excited to go back to the theater and watch it again. I will say it rushes over some stuff, and then there are things that I will be touching on a spoiler review, so watch this movie, and then go watch my spoiler review for the things that I didn't necessarily like as much. But, again, this is a very hard movie to touch on, because the things I didn't like are very spoilery. So, overall, I did really enjoy Spider-Man Brand New Day. I don't think it's an amazing Spider-Man movie. I do think it's got its flaws, specifically some things it rushes over. But overall, I'm ready to hand Destin Daniel Cretton the keys to the franchise. So before I give you my final score, if you will subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and comment down below what is your opinions on Brand New Day if you've seen it. If you've not seen it, are you excited for it? And with that said, Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to get an A- from me, and this is an instant 4K purchase. So stay tuned, spoiler review coming later this weekend, as well as a Spider-Man ranking. And with that said, subscribe.